We are in springtime now, and the weather is getting warmer. So I thought I'd do a video on the air conditioning and how the controls work. Today we got about 39 degrees here, and it'll only get hotter as the summer comes in. If I select the air conditioning from here, gives me my air condition controls. You can set the driver and passenger side independently for different temperatures, so that's fine. But there's also you can also have it fully automatic, and you can have the air conditioner on. So if you are in a cold climate, you can turn the air conditioning part off, and now it just blows the outside air in to cool it. The heater side still works, but for cooling it relies on the outside air being less than the inside temperature. You can also select recirculating air, so if you're in the dusty conditions, or if the weather is so cold outside or so hot outside that you want to just circulate the air inside the car, you can also do that. You can manually select the fan speed, and now the automatic function is completely off. So no longer will maintain the temperature if the fan speed is not high enough. So if I turn it on full auto once again, now the fan and the air conditioner are both on, and it'll maintain the temperature on whatever we set here. You can also see this on the dash. If we look at the dash here, you can see it's 35 outside, but the inside is set for 19 degrees on the passenger side and 19.5 degrees on the driver's side. So, but this is not all there is to the air conditioner. If I go to the second screen by pressing the arrow, now you have selection here. You can have the air conditioning on soft, normal or fast. So this affects how efficiently the temperature gets adjusted. If you have it on soft like I have it now, the fan will never go on full speed, which makes the car nice and quiet, but it takes a longer time for the temperature to be adjusted. If I go on a fast, it will immediately speed up the fan and make a lot quicker changes on it. I like to have it on soft because it's nice and quiet, and it's usually enough this time of year. In summertime I have to have it on normal because the soft won't work. But here's another setting here. This is called mono setting, and when you do that, and now we go back to the previous screen, see, both temperatures now are set to the same. So if I increase the temperature, it keeps the driver and the passenger side the same. So this can be useful if you don't want to have the separate settings. So I'll go back to the next screen again, and I can turn that off so they can be individually adjusted. But this is probably the more important setting. If you have no passengers with you, you can have that off, and the rear air conditioning doesn't work at all. It just relies on the air from the front moving to the back. If you turn this on, the fans at the back will also work, as does the vents. So I will just quickly show you the conditions in the back. So if that is on, the front and back both get cooled, which makes the air conditioning unit work harder, but very important if you have passengers, especially in the back. So we go here, we'll change that, say, to 18.5. Well, that's really a bit cold. It's alright around town, but as you go on a long trip, which we are going to do just now, it gets really a bit on the cold side. So we normally have them same, but depends. Sometimes, depending where the sun is coming from, like if you have the sun on the passenger side, well, you probably want to have it 20 for the driver, but the passenger might want it 19 or 18 because they are also getting cooked by the sun. So this is where it's handy to have the individual adjustments, so you can try to keep the comfort level the same on both sides. I'll leave them 19.5 for now. I'll probably have to adjust them as we go on our trip. If we go and have a look at the back, just bear with me 1 minute while I go from the driver's seat to the back. So you can see that there's an air vent here. There's also a convenient little table. I sometimes sit here if I have to wait. I'll set up my iPad here and I can watch movies here. But that is sort of irrelevant. But here's a separate air conditioning unit for the back. This one here determines how much air gets through the vents from off to fully on. The adjustment range is not very big, but you can have it on or off. So if the person in the back does not want any air, you can turn it off, or if they want more. But what you also have here is individual fan speed for both sides at the back. I don't know if you can hear this. That's full on and that's on low. So this is the difference when you got the back selected. These controls work. If you have the back section turned off from the central control, then nothing comes out of these back vents. Only air you get in the back is what comes from the middle here. Now there's further air conditioning at the back. Up here there's air conditioning vents which are a bit harder to see. Oops, sorry. It's a bit harder to see. You can see the air conditioning vents here, and they can be adjusted, turned off completely by closing that, or they can be turned and they turn around directionally. So this is for the back row when you got all 7 seats in use. And there's a fan speed selector here, which I don't know, can you see that? It's hard to see, but I can adjust that. So you can hear full on. And completely off. So again, that control does not work unless you have the air conditioning turned off from the turned on at the front. So that these vents at the back do not function unless you have the air conditioning set for the rear passengers at the front of the front central control unit. And same thing, here's the other side. It's the same thing. You have individual adjustment there for airflow and fan speed, and same thing happens on this side here. So this is very important to bear in mind, because if you forget to turn the central control on at the front, then it doesn't matter what the people in the back do, they're going to complain that they are hot and uncomfortable, or cold and uncomfortable, depending of course what the outside temperature is, and these controls don't work at all. So I'm going to go and turn them off now, because there's only 2 of us and we're going on a long trip. I don't see any major benefit in keeping the back end of the car as cool as the front. Another thing to bear in mind is that in the front you have a huge windscreen, so a lot of heat comes through that. So if you have all the air conditioning coming to the front, so I'll do it here. So we go to the second screen, we turn the rear off, so now all the air conditioning is coming to the front. So the advantage of this is that the cold air concentrates in the front, where you also have the large windscreen, and that tends to keep the car fairly even temperature all the way through, because the excess air gets pushed to the back anyway through the cabin. So if you haven't got any passengers, then this is probably the option. And I think that, other than this, a couple of my other controls here, you can have that going up on windscreen, on your face or on your feet as a manual, but as soon as you press this, then it's no longer auto control. See, the auto button's gone off now. So if I'm usually happy for the car to work out where the air's gotta flow and how it's best distributed to keep the temperature even. But you do have other options if you're not happy with the way the car's doing it. Okay, well, I hope that was useful. Whether you got cold winter or hot summer like us coming, it's important to remember this rear section needs to be on if you want the air to go to the back, otherwise the back controls don't work. Okay, hope that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that helps.